Whenever we think of going on a walkabout, a place to explore ourselves, or just to take a break from the hustle and bustle of our super busy lives, there are but a few places that come to mind. A trek to a hill or a small mountain, a relaxing trip to the beach, or an exotic experience through the wilderness of jungles. Forests are the abode of amazing tree species, reptiles, deer, birds, and other wild animals. But they are also a hotbed for wildlife, including wild animals, which will kill you in a matter of seconds. Let's explore the 15 most strangest forests in the world that are home to terrifying creatures, some of which you may have never heard of before. Let's start off with number 15, hemlock forests. Most cryptids are terrifying, but the squonk? Well, let's say it's just depressing. First written about in 1910, the squonk is said to roam the hemlock forests of Pennsylvania, living a life of pure misery. Imagine a small, warty, hairless creature covered in blemishes and sagging skin. Its own reflection is so horrifying that it avoids looking at water. But here's where it gets weird. If a squonk is cornered or frightened, it literally dissolves into a puddle of its own tears. Yeah, you heard that right. People who have tried to catch one report suddenly finding nothing but a wet spot on the ground. Some say moonlit nights are the worst. Squonks move even slower because they're too afraid to accidentally see themselves. It's probably the only cryptid that doesn't need to be hunted. It's already having a bad enough time as it is. What a poor soul. Number 14, the Peninsula Python. Ohio isn't exactly known for massive pythons, but in the summer of 1944, something slithered into Summit County, and it wasn't supposed to be there. Locals near Cuyahoga Valley National Park started reporting a 15-foot-long python roaming the area. At first, authorities brushed it off. There are no native giant snakes in Ohio. But as more reports came in, it became clear that something massive was out there. Where did it come from? No one knows. Some say it escaped from a private collection, while others believe someone dumped it in the woods on purpose. Either way, it wasn't just lurking in the trees. It was attacking livestock, leaving massive tracks and terrifying anyone who crossed its path. A full-scale search was launched, but by the time winter hit, the snake was gone, presumed dead. But some believe it simply slipped back into the wilderness, waiting for the next hot summer to come out of hiding. Number 13, the Bennington Triangle. There's something seriously wrong with this forest. People have been disappearing here for decades, and not just the odd lost hiker. Entire groups of people have vanished without a trace. The most famous case was in 1946 when Paula Weldon went for a casual hike and was never seen again. There was no body or clues, just gone. Over the next few years, more and more people disappeared, and the paranormal theories started rolling in. UFOs, time warps, even shadow people. But the scariest legend? The Bennington Monster. Some describe it as a huge, hulking figure covered in fur, moving faster than any human should. Others say it's part human, part beast, with glowing eyes and a presence that distorts the very air around it. But here's the thing. Many of the people who vanished were experienced hikers, people who knew these woods well. So, is it just a coincidence? Or is something else hunting people in the Bennington Triangle? Number 12, the Forest of Dean. The Beast of Dean, aka the Moose Pig, has been a cryptid monster stalking Gloucestershire's Royal Forest of Dean for centuries. It's said to resemble a wild boar, but much, much bigger. Not just farm pig big, moose big. The first wave of sightings happened back in 1802 when locals started reporting a massive rampaging boar knocking down trees, crushing fences like twigs, and roaring like something straight out of hell. By 1807, a group of hunters finally tracked it down. But when they killed the creature, they all agreed. This was no normal boar. It looked wrong, like something that shouldn't exist. After that, the forest went silent. Until 1998. Two locals, James Nash and Marshall Davies, were walking through the woods when they noticed the dead silence. No birds, no wind, just an eerie, suffocating stillness. Then, a deep, guttural growl. Something massive was moving in the darkness. They ran, but before they could escape, a bone-rattling roar tore through the trees. No one knows what they saw, but whatever it was, real. Number 11. Pukwudgies. Deep in the forests of the northeastern United States, there's something watching from the shadows. Small, gray-skinned creatures with large ears, spiny backs, and a twisted sense of humor. They're called Pukwudgies, and they've been lurking in Native American folklore for centuries. At first glance, they don't seem too bad, tricksters who pull harmless pranks. But get on their bad side, you're in real trouble. Pukwudgies are said to be skilled hunters who can vanish into thin air and reappear somewhere else entirely. Some legends even claim they can shapeshift, taking the form of animals, people, or even inanimate objects. While some tribes see them as protectors of the forest, others fear them completely. There are stories of people mysteriously disappearing, later found at the bottom of cliffs as if they'd been pushed. Whether they're mischievous spirits or something far more sinister, one thing is certain: if you see one, don't follow it. Number 10. Veggie Man. There are plenty of weird creatures out there, but Veggie Man might take the crown. Deep in the woods near Fairmont, West Virginia, this towering 7-foot-tall being is part human, part plant, and 100% nightmare fuel. It has thin, reed-like arms, suction cup fingers tipped with sharp thorns, and rapidly changing eyes that flicker between red, yellow, and green. But the weirdest part? It talks, and not with words. In 1968, a hunter named Jennings Frederick claimed he encountered Veggie Man, who spoke to him telepathically. The creature said it came in peace and even asked for medical help. But then, it lunged. Before Frederick could react, the creature wrapped its thorny fingers around his arm, piercing his skin. He felt paralyzed, hypnotized by its flashing eyes. And then, it vanished into the trees. No one else has seen Veggie Man since. So what was it? An alien? A mutation? A hoax? Whatever it was, Frederick never went hunting there again. Number 9. Epping Forest. Well, England is packed with eerie legends, but Epping Forest is on another level. For centuries, it's been a hotspot for hauntings, highwaymen, and horrifying encounters. Take Dick Turpin, the infamous highwayman who used a hidden cave in the forest as a hideout. Some say his ghost still rides through the trees on his horse, Black Bess, dragging a screaming woman behind him. Then there's Hangman's Hill, where legend claims a phantom executioner pushes cars uphill. If that's not weird enough, there's also the White Hart, a pure white stag that's said to signal impending doom. And you definitely don't want to run into the Black Shuck, a ghostly dog with fiery red eyes believed to be an omen of death. Even the roads aren't safe. Headless bikers, shadowy figures, and a horseless carriage have all been spotted along Epping New Road. Maybe walking isn't the worst idea after all. At least you'll see what's coming. Number 8. The Hanging Deer. Some stories stick with you. This one, you won't forget it. A former park ranger once recalled a story his neighbor told him, something so disturbing it still haunts him today. One night, while patrolling a national park in the Appalachian Mountains, he felt a single drop of liquid hit his shoulder. At first, he brushed it off, probably just tree sap. Then he wiped his hand across his skin. It was sticky, red. When he shined his flashlight upward, his stomach dropped. A deer carcass was hanging 100 feet up in a tree, its body twisted and torn apart. But here's the real problem. There were no branches for the first 20 feet. Nothing could have dragged it that high. Some suggested a mountain lion, but there were no cougars in the state. Others thought it might be a bear. But deep down, the ranger knew. Bears don't do that. So what did? He didn't stick around to find out. Number 7. The Figure. Sometimes the scariest things happen right outside your door. A Reddit user shared a photo their mother took behind their house, just a normal forest scene. But when she looked closer, she saw something strange. A tall, dark figure lurking among the trees. Nobody in the family was outside at the time. When they tried to recreate the image, they realized something was off. The figure was too pale, too shadowy, too unnatural. Its color and texture didn't match anything in the environment. It wasn't a person, a tree, or an animal. It was just there. Some commenters thought it was a trick of the light. Others suggested a spirit or something paranormal. But the Redditor wasn't convinced. They had been in those woods hundreds of times. But after seeing that picture, they never went back alone. All right, guys, now let's move to number 6, the Amazon rainforest. If you think the Amazon rainforest is just filled with jaguars and colorful parrots, think again. Deep in the jungle, the Mappinguari is a walking nightmare. Something so terrifying that locals refuse to speak its name at night. Some say it was once a shaman who discovered the secret to immortality but angered the gods and was cursed. Others claim it's a living fossil, a creature that should have gone extinct millions of years ago. Either way, descriptions of the Mappinguari are enough to make anyone reconsider a jungle trek. It stands over 7 feet tall, covered in long reddish fur, and stinks like rotting flesh. Some swear it has backward-facing feet to confuse trackers. Others claim it has a single glowing eye. But the most disturbing detail? A gaping mouth in the middle of its stomach is used to swallow prey whole. And then there's the suffocating, rancid stench that lingers before an attack, so bad that it knocks people unconscious. Many believe bullets and arrows don't work unless you hit it directly in its belly mouth. Number 5. Congo rainforest. The Congo rainforest is one of the largest, most ecologically diverse, and deadliest forests on Earth. Spanning across the Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Cameroon, Gabon, and Central Africa, this vast wilderness is home to rare species, dense vegetation, and some of the most lethal viruses known to mankind. The forest has long been associated with outbreaks of deadly diseases, including Ebola, West Nile virus, dengue, and yellow fever. Many of these viruses originate in wildlife populations, making human encounters with infected animals potentially fatal. Apart from disease threats, the Congo is crawling with predators. Leopards, lions, elephants, wild boars, gorillas, and venomous snakes all thrive in its depths. Local tribal communities have survived here for centuries, but for outsiders, the forest is a place of constant danger. Number 4. Darien Gap. The Darien Gap, a remote stretch of jungle between Panama and Colombia, has earned its reputation as the world's most dangerous jungle. It's not just a name, this place is practically a death trap. With no roads and impossible terrain, the Darien Gap is a tangle of dense rainforest, unforgiving mountains, and swamps. Those who attempt to cross it must do so on foot, battling oppressive heat, torrential rains, and treacherous wildlife. Among the creatures lurking in the jungle are jaguars, venomous snakes, and deadly insects. But the real danger isn't always the animals. The Darien Gap is also a known hotspot for criminal groups, drug traffickers, and armed militias, making survival a gamble. For decades, the Gap has swallowed travelers, explorers, and desperate migrants attempting to make the crossing. Some make it through. Many do not. Number 3. Freetown State Forest. Freetown State Forest in Massachusetts is not just a dense woodland. It's a crime scene, a paranormal hotspot, and a place many believe is cursed. This forest has seen its share of unexplained disappearances, ritualistic killings, and eerie encounters. Reports of mutilated bodies, Children found in bizarre conditions and evidence of satanic cult activity have surfaced over the years. Beyond the human horrors, there are countless supernatural sightings. People claim to have seen shadow figures, glowing orbs, and even Bigfoot-like creatures wandering the woods. The area is also tied to Native American legends, with some believing the forest is cursed by spirits seeking revenge for past atrocities. To make things even creepier, UFO sightings and strange lights have also been reported. Whether it's the work of the paranormal, criminals, or something far more sinister, this forest is a place where the darkness runs deep. Number 2. Black Forest. The Black Forest in southwestern Germany is as beautiful as it is mysterious. Known for its fairy tale landscapes and thick, nearly impenetrable woods, this forest has inspired countless legends, eerie folklore, and even real-life hauntings. Once inside, the dense canopy blocks out so much sunlight that the forest feels unnervingly dark, even during the day. This eerie atmosphere has given rise to ghost stories, tales of cursed villages, and legends of supernatural beings. Among them is Der Grossmann, a shadowy, faceless entity said to stalk lost travelers. Remnants of abandoned military fortresses, hidden bunkers, and old battlefields lie hidden among the trees, further adding to the haunting history of the Black Forest. As breathtaking as it may be, those who wander too deep often find themselves disoriented, surrounded by endless darkness, with no clear way out. What's lurking in the shadows? Maybe it's best not to find out. Number 1. Daintree Rainforest. The Daintree Rainforest in Queensland, Australia, is one of the oldest, most stunning natural landscapes on Earth, but it's also one of the deadliest. This 1,200 square kilometer wilderness is a nightmare of dangerous creatures and deadly plant life. Hidden beneath its lush beauty are saltwater crocodiles, venomous snakes, leeches, and parasitic ticks, all waiting for their next victim. One of the most feared dangers is the stinging tree. Covered in fine, toxic hairs, its leaves release a venom that causes agonizing pain for weeks, sometimes months. Even brushing against it can result in blinding agony. The Daintree's dense foliage makes it impossibly easy to get lost, and with no phone signal and extreme heat, survival becomes a race against time. For those who stray too far from the trails, the forest quickly becomes a silent predator, swallowing its victims whole. If you've enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.